Joining me today on Driving Leadership is Chris Mason. Chris is the president of OneGroup, and he and I have had a conversation before on Driving Leadership, but only in the audio format. Today we get to do video together. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Bill. Good to see you.
Really good to see you. I'm really excited to be doing this with you today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's awesome. And this is our second awesome conversation that we're recording like this.
Well, hopefully it's awesome.
It is. I know it's going to be awesome. Every conversation I have with you. So I want a different conversation with you today. I know you've got a lot of great topics in mind. But I understand you were in a car accident recently.
I was, and I just want to warn you, I'm a little twitchy in the car, so just be easy on me today.
We will. No worries. And you know that I appreciate backseat driving from the passenger seat. So
that's
let
good
me know how we're going.
Good to know. You're one of the few.
It's teamwork, man. It's teamwork. So I am really looking forward to this conversation with you because I think there's a lot going on at the OneGroup. There's a lot going on in your leadership. It's a phenomenal organization. I've gotten to know so much of the team over the last several years. Yep. And I want to understand what's going on with your team, what's going on with your organization, and what you're doing in your leadership to make OneGroup the success it is.
Okay. Well, that's a lot.
We've got all morning.
In terms of the team, we are really looking at really identifying what our leadership team is. And I think over the past year, there's been significant change. We've made a lot of acquisitions. We've grown our geography substantially. We're in South Carolina. We're in Florida.
Wow,
we're growing in Pennsylvania, which makes it a lot of moving parts. We've changed our agency management system, which is really the lifeblood of what we do and how we work with our clients. We've gone through accounting changes. We've gone through leadership changes in terms of employee retention, things like that. So it's been a lot. So really just kind of sitting back and kind of reassessing where we are and who we really need to be leaders and how we want them to lead. I mean, I think that's one of the most important things in leadership is just trying to be consistent in terms of how you lead and how everybody leads. And so we have a unified management team in terms of how things are managed at the managerial and leadership level. And so that's kind of one of our focuses.
That is a lot of change.
Oh, it is. And, retention of staff has been difficult in all industries. I'm sure you hear that with everybody you talk to.
Yeah, there's certainly a theme there.
But it's interesting because as things change, things are improving too. I mean, we're building stronger teams. We're finding more experienced people. We had one department, for example, that we basically lost over 50% of the staff. Wow. We've regrouped, we've restaffed it, and it's much stronger than it's ever been.
So, Chris, I understand that you're running a little bit of an experiment this summer.
I am.
With your time and energy management. Tell me about it.
Well, it's one thing Ralph Simone always taught me is managing your white space on your calendar. So I'm trying to get ahead of that by actually blocking my Friday afternoons.
That's awesome.
And I did it all of last summer.
Yeah.
I didn't take a single one. So I went through.
Okay. All right. Well, it's an experiment.
So it didn't work. This year, I'm going to try to play golf. I'm going to try to spend time with the family.
Nice.
My son's playing 47 baseball games in 60 days, so I want to try to be able to do that stuff. So
at least I want to use
of
them, right?
Yeah, and I want to use that Friday afternoon time to kind of unwind, maybe play a little golf, get my golf game back where it used to be. I used to be a very good golfer. I'm not anymore. So my goal is to really just use that time on Friday afternoons, which is generally quiet in the summer anyway for people. So it's physically blocked off on my calendar through October, so we'll see how that goes.
And your team knows that's there, so they can plan the rest of the week around.
But they'll ask me. I mean, like a couple weeks ago, somebody said, "Are you taking Friday this week?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to. So schedule whatever you need to schedule." So it's fine.
Yeah.
And you're accessible anywhere these days, anyway. So.
It's true.
And I think it's good for everybody. I mean, one of our goals for our people is really that work-life integration and making sure you can do those things. And ever since the remote workplace became so much more popular, people can work from anywhere and do stuff from anywhere.
Really,
it's not like I can't answer my emails or get on a phone call if I need to. So
absolutely,
hopefully it works.
No, I like that.
It's early in the process.
But you're creating a structure, right, with some healthy boundaries. Yep. And I hear an agility and a flexibility or a willingness to possibly renegotiate that when that needs to happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? So, Chris, there's I don't know if it's a trend, I don't know if it's a theme, I don't know what to call it, but remote working seems to really be here to stay. I think the pandemic became somewhat of a forcing function of that. Yep. Tell me about the successes and challenges at OneGroup around remote working.
So the good news is we were actually remote before the pandemic.
Yeah, so you had some experience.
So we had some experience. People have to sign a remote work agreement, and there's certain parameters they have to follow. And again, this was pre-COVID where we tried it in one of our departments for, I don't think, one time a month. And
So like so many days in, so
yeah,
many
so it
days
was like
out, that
initially
kind
it
of
was one day a month, and it was 2 days a
yeah.
month, and ultimately before COVID, it was you could work from home 2 days a week, and most of the departments adopted it. One of our departments couldn't, but obviously when COVID came, we had to get everybody out.
Right.
And I remember when I was so proud of the fact we were able to get everybody out from the office and back at home and working successfully, and our CEO said to me, "Yeah, that was the easy part. The hard part's going to be getting them back," and I think everybody's experienced that. So, there's a faction of people who'd love to have everybody back every day. I don't think that's a practical solution anymore. But we're trying to create reasons to have people come in. So we have 1 day a week, Wednesdays, where we ask everybody to come to the office.
Yes.
And we want to build some events around that.
Nice.
Like we have Emergent come in once a month,
like
for
the
example.
lunch and learns or
lunch and learns
yeah.
and departmental meetings. So that's been pretty good. Like I said, I think that it's really a vibrant place on those Wednesdays.
Absolutely.
The cornhole matches are going like crazy on Wednesdays
Oh,
because people are
fun.
here.
So some of it's social.
I think it has to be social. I think people need that social element. And I think it's an opportunity for the managers and the leaders to really work closer with those people. We're going to remote offices on those Wednesdays just to get more engagement. So I think we've found a good balance. Would I like people to be here more? Of course. But is it practical to do that? No.
So, Chris, I don't want to bring up a difficult subject for you, but we did mention that you were in a little bit of a car accident, and you said there were some leadership lessons in that.
Yeah, so, I never thought of it as a leadership lesson, but as I was thinking about this and my warning to you about my being a little triggered sometimes in the car, I thought about that. And, we were actually coming back from a client visit and got broadsided by a car who ran a stop sign at about 50 miles per hour.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was in the passenger seat, and a colleague was in the driver's seat who took it much worse than I did. I ended up with 4 or 5 broken ribs, but we got hit and in slow motion spinning across the highway, and you come to a rest. And I literally remember just thinking to myself, oh, my God, I'm okay. Yeah. I'm just curious as to how, when I looked to my left, how my colleague was going to be, and he was in substantially much more pain than I was, and I got out of the car and I went across trying to open the vehicle and then calling 911 and getting them there and calling his wife to let her know what happened and coming back in the car and holding him upright so that he wasn't, he had a punctured lung and a bunch of ribs, which as he slouched hurt more.
Really?
And you never know how you're really going to react in those times of adversity. And I was just very proud of how I was able to kind of just step up and move forward. And I remember the folks in the ambulance coming asking me whether or not I needed to be checked out or go to the hospital. I'm like, no. And I call my wife, and she's like, yeah, you should probably go to the hospital. It turns out I had 4 broken ribs. And like I said, it was more about being there for my friend and colleague. And really having the wherewithal to kind of step up. And I think sometimes in leadership, you're thrown these curveballs and these things you never know are going to happen. And I think you have to remain calm, not overreact, and really make sure that, you're being patient and thoughtful, yet acting swiftly and decisively in terms of how you do things.
What challenges are going on right now for you and your leadership, and what's going on in your organization?
Well, employee retention was a problem for a while, which seems to have eased in a little bit.
Yeah, it's easing. It's easing.
Yeah, I mean, we've really, like I said before, taken the opportunity to use it and hire some good people and restructure a little bit. Just growing a business is never easy. It's a difficult environment in the insurance business. If you got your personal insurance renewal anytime in the last few months, you've probably seen a pretty significant increase. Businesses are really struggling as far as their insurance rates too. Claims getting paid is an issue these days too. So there's a lot of kind of headwinds that you face, but I think we've been tackling them successfully. We have a great partner. We're owned by Community Bank. They're a great partner. We have, in the last year or so, really worked very closely with them to bring business to each other. We've had great success on both personal insurance and business insurance, and as well as bringing them banking opportunities. We have a couple other sister companies. We have Community Wealth. We have BPAS, and We've all worked very closely together. So over the last few years, it's really been really cool to kind of work together and get to know each other both professionally and personally, but also understand, what a strong firm community banking and related companies are. I mean, we can offer, from a financial services perspective, anything any major bank can. And I think it's starting to put those pieces together, which has gotten very exciting.
You were one of the participants in our Lead Forward program.
Yep.
And that was, actually, we were together in
were.
that. And what is that now, 5 years ago? I lose track
Seems like
of time.
only yesterday.
I know, right? At the same time. So there, hopefully, were lots of lessons in that space for you. And I know you got to work with my business partner, Ralph Simone. He was your coach through the whole process. Looking back at that program, maybe what are you drawing from still?
That's a good question. A lot. I'm not sure I can put my finger on one thing, but if nothing else, the ability to kind of be calm, be thoughtful in terms of making decisions on things. I loved the reading. I still rely a lot on the books that we read in that program. And, how success doesn't bring happiness. Happiness brings success. And I try to think of that every day.
And I think connection is one of the most important leadership qualities, right? Being able to connect with not just your community, but connect with your people in your organization.
Right. That's why I thought it was important for these guys to really understand what being on a board is and what is in the community. I mean, one of the things we really appreciate at OneGroup is, you talked about the education center that we have, and we'll entertain 200 to 300 community groups a year doing various things.
That's awesome.
Coming in and free of charge using the space.
Yeah. And it's great space.
It is great space.
Chris, you are a lifelong learner. I know you read, you consume all sorts of content. What are you doing lately to continue your own growth and development?
I do a lot of reading, listen to a lot of podcasts.
What are you reading these days?
I'm reading a book called Measure What Matters. Just starting that.
I've heard that. I have not read it.
The Happiness Advantage I'm listening to because I really like Big Potential with Sean Aker.
Yeah,
He also wrote Happiness Advantage. So those are two books I'm focusing on. I'm also doing a little bit of personal reading on golf and baseball. So
very cool.
Been good. Yeah, I'm a baseball junkie.
Are those like
it's terrible playing it, but I enjoy the sport immensely.
That's all right. That's how I am with fishing.
Right.
That's why they call it fishing, not catching, right?
Yeah, and also,
I go fishing more than catching.
I feel like I'm a very coachable person, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
CEO says that. Ralph always said that. And so just taking advice from other people on what I could be doing to be better. I meet our leadership folks weekly, and there's always something that comes out of that helps you learn something. We're doing podcasts now within our organization with various people.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear them.
Which people get to learn about each other. So I don't know. I just feel it's just staying in touch with people. I think is the best way to lead and to learn how to lead them.
Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill.
Really appreciate the ride with you today, man.
It's great.
Awesome.